Christopher Vance crouched in the deep snow, his eyes on fresh wolf prints, a clean four-paw stride leading east. Every pad impression was sharp. A big male, likely a disperser from the pack.
That's a big one. Third survey this month, and the freshest trail yet.
2 miles in, the tracks changed. 4 paws vanished. 2 prints walked heel-toe.
Wolves don't walk on 2 legs, but the prints are right here in front of me.
He knelt and measured. The stride had nearly doubled. The prints were deep, but the shape was wrong. Too narrow, too human.
4 paws to 2 feet. It's impossible, but I am staring right at it.
The bipedal prints stretched away into the timber, perfectly spaced, no sign of exhaustion.
I have to see where they go. I can't walk away now.
Alone, deep in the woods, he chose to follow the impossible trail. He pulled his camera and began documenting the tracks, each frame a record of something that should not exist.
The paws are gone. Just 2 feet now, walking like a man, but no man leaves a print this large.
He tried his radio, static. The storm's interference had cut him off completely.
No signal. I am alone out here with whatever made these.
He scratched mile 2 into the snow beside the tracks, a marker for a report that might never be filed.
2 miles of 2-legged prints. And they don't slow, don't wander. It's moving with purpose.
The wind picked up, snow whipping sideways. Darkness wasn't far behind.
Turn back. Number. If I don't follow, I'll never know. This is my job. This is evidence.
He cinched his pack tighter and pressed forward into the dark timber.
2 miles of prints, and they're still fresh. Whatever made these is still ahead of me, and I am walking straight toward it.
He followed the bipedal track for another mile, then 2. The spacing never altered.
The stride is exactly the same length every time. No slip, no pause. This isn't an animal walking. It's more like something on a rail.
The forest fell silent. No bird, no wind through branches. His own breath sounded too loud.
The woods are never this quiet. Something's wrong.
He checked his GPS. The drainage was deeper than he'd ever surveyed. No trails, no roads within 5 miles.
I am miles in. No backup, no comms. If something happens...
But the tracks continued, dragging him forward. He couldn't stop photographing, documenting.
This is evidence no one will believe, but I have to get it all.
He marked the GPS waypoint at mile 4 with numb fingers. The print trail still perfect ahead.
4 miles of bipedal tracks, and still no sign of it stopping. I'm not chasing a wolf anymore.
The last gray light drained from the sky. The forest turned black around him.
I should have turned back hours ago, but the tracks keep going.
He stopped, listening. The silence was absolute.
Something's out here. I can feel it watching.
A sound rose from deep in the drainage. Not a wolf howl, but something trying to sound like one.
That's not an animal. That's a voice, a human voice.
He fumbled for his flashlight, the beam slicing through falling snow. The tracks still led onward.
Every cell in my body is telling me to run. But if I don't see this through, who will?
He pushed forward, flashlight shaking. The bipedal prints now ghostly in the white circle of light.
Whatever made these prints is still ahead. And now it knows I am here.
The tracks arrowed into a small clearing and stopped dead at the base of a massive Douglas fir.
They just end. Right at the trunk. No tracks leaving the clearing.
He circled the tree, scanning for broken branches or scuff marks. Nothing. The canopy was undisturbed.
It walked here on 2 legs for miles, reached this tree, and then evaporated.
A suffocating pressure settled in the clearing, as if the air itself had thickened.
Get the photo. Mark the GPS. Then get out. Now.
With trembling hands, he took the final photograph and saved the GPS coordinates.
Don't look up. Don't turn your back on the tree. Just walk.
He retreated from the clearing without once turning his back, retracing his own footprints in the snow.
Something was in that tree. Something that doesn't want to be found.
He reached the truck, just as the snow began to bury the trail behind him. His hands shook on the wheel.
The photos are the only proof. Without them, It never happened.
Past midnight, he reached the field office and uploaded the day's survey data, including the photographs.
Mallory will have questions, but this isn't a mistake. I have the documentation.
Home, he collapsed in his clothes. At 6:15 the next morning, his phone rang.
Mallory, no greeting, no reason. Why would he be calling at dawn?
Vance, my office, 30 minutes. He hung up before Christopher could answer. He drove back under a gray sky, the memory card still in his jacket. The hallway smelled of old coffee and copier toner. Wolf posters lined the wall. Outside Mallory's office, he paused. The silence felt deliberate, like a held breath. Mallory looked up from a stack of freshly printed photographs as Christopher entered. His face was stone.
These are your photographs from yesterday's survey. You took them in the drainage.
Yes. The tracks were normal wolf at first. Then they changed. I documented every mile.
Mallory didn't look up. He turned each photograph over slowly, studying them as if committing every detail to memory.
Did you share these with anyone? Upload them anywhere besides the server?
Number. Just the internal upload. I followed protocol. Sir, I am not sure what I saw, but
Delete every digital copy. Right now. Hand over the memory card and any physical prints.
not asking. Ordering me to bury my own evidence. And I don't know why.
There have been reports like this from that drainage since the 1980S protocol is to discard and reassign.
The words hit Christopher like a cold gust. The agency already knew, and they wanted it gone. Mallory gestured at the laptop. Christopher opened the folder, his finger trembling on the trackpad.
Delete them. If you ever speak of this, you'll never work in wildlife again.
He's not bluffing. This is the end of my career if I don't comply.
He dragged the files to the trash. Mallory fed the printed photographs into the shredder, his expression blank.
Here. Reassignment to the Clearwater District. Effective immediately.
Exiled, just like that. They're burying me along with the evidence.
He walked back to his old desk and began filling a box with books and gear.
Forget the drainage. It's a safety matter. That's all you need to know.
The photos are gone. The memory card is empty. And now I am gone too.
He taped the box shut, the wolf posters on the wall reminding him of what he'd lost. Months passed. The Clearwater District was a different world. Rocky hills, not deep timber. But the memory of those tracks never left him. He began noticing patterns. Trackers from his old unit were being reassigned, and certain drainages were marked restricted in internal memos.
It's not just a protocol. It's a program. They're systematically burying anything about that drainage.
Rumors spread among the few who'd been stationed there. Stories of transfers under vague safety pretexts.
I can't forget, but what can I do? I have no proof anymore.
When the mandatory wildlife conference notice arrived, he felt a chill. It was the first time he'd be among colleagues since his transfer. He walked into the conference hall, a sea of familiar logos and unfamiliar faces. The noise swallowed him. He took a seat near the back, his mind elsewhere. The panelists droned on about population models. He couldn't concentrate.
Even here, I catch fragments. Someone mentioning the drainage is off limits, then quickly changing the subject. It's all connected. I am surrounded by people who know, but nobody will talk. I am alone in this.
After the last session broke, Christopher lingered by the coffee station, avoiding eye contact. A hand touched his elbow. An older man with a lined face and a fleece jacket stood too close.
Christopher Vance? I used to track in the same drainage. 1991.
Someone who knows. After all these months,
The man glanced around and whispered an invitation to his hotel room, promising photographs. That evening, Christopher knocked on the door of room 214. The old tracker let him in without a word. He spread a folder of photographs across the motel bed, their edges yellowed with age.
I took these in 1991. Same drainage, same tracks, and I was ordered to delete them, too.
Christopher picked up the top photograph. Beside the third bipedal print, a A broken twig lay exactly where he'd seen it 3 months ago.
This isn't a coincidence. The same tracks, the same twig. He's been waiting 30 years for someone to believe him.
I didn't delete my photographs. I hid the negatives in my brother's basement. They threatened me, same as you.
He pulled a thick folder from his bag and tossed it onto the bed. A dozen reports spanning years.
I've been collecting these since 1985. Every report from that drainage, all deleted, all buried.
He's not just a witness. He's the unofficial archive of a cover-up.
The agency knows what's out there. Something that mimics wolves, walks on two legs when it wants. They're afraid of panic.
Christopher stared at the folder, his mind racing. This was bigger than a single sighting.
Do you still have your photos? The ones you took?
The question hung in the air. Christopher's silence was answer enough.
Number. Mallory made me delete everything. He watched me do it. I have no proof left, but he does. Maybe I can still help.
Ellis reached into his bag and pulled out a small black USB drive, pressing it into Christopher's palm.
These are audio recordings from internal USDA meetings. They prove the agency knows what's in that drainage.
This is treason. This is a federal crime just to possess.
If you want to blow this open, I'll go back with you. Proper cameras, GPS logging. We collect irrefutable proof.
He's serious. He wants to walk back into that nightmare.
Christopher clutched the USB, its weight heavier than it should be. He needed time to think. He left the room with a nod, promising nothing, and walked the empty hotel hallway. In his own room, he plugged the USB into his laptop. A flat, bureaucratic voice filled the silence, discussing the drainage.
They've known for decades. And they're not just hiding it, they're actively punishing anyone who reports it.
He pulled out the USB and held it, the plastic worm. Silence was its own kind of death, but breaking it could cost him everything. For 3 nights, Christopher sat in his dark apartment, the USB plugged in, listening to the full recordings. Each file was a nail in the coffin of the agency's silence.
This isn't just a cover-up. It's a sanctioned program. They're destroying people to protect it.
At dawn on the 4th day, he picked up his phone. Ellis answered on the 2nd ring.
I am in. We go back to the drainage. I'll get the gear ready.
He hung up, a queasy resolve settling. But when he opened his front door to check the mail, a plain white envelope lay on the mat. We know you saw it. Keep quiet.
They're watching me. They know I am planning something.
He paced his living room, checking the locks, pulling the blinds tight.
Maybe I should back out. This isn't worth my life.
But the USB was still in his pocket. He could feel its heat. Backing out now meant living in the shadow of that note forever. Christopher stuffed winter gear into a duffel, his hands moving from memory. The anonymous note was crumpled in the trash. He cleaned the high-def camera lens, checking the memory card. This time it wouldn't be empty.
If Mallory finds out, I am finished. But I can't let this happen again.
At 4 a.m., he drove through empty streets to the rendezvous point, the USB hidden in his glove box. In the pre-dawn cold, Ellis was already there, leaning against a truck with a worn camel bag.
Loaded the tranq rifle. Just in case. Not planning to use it, but that thing isn't a wolf.
They loaded the last camera bags and a topo map into the back, their movements efficient, silent. The truck rumbled down the forest road, bare branches like bones against the gray sky.
This is my choice, my career, maybe my life, but I have to know.
They reached the trailhead where the old access road ended, snow beginning to fall. The drainage was half a day's hike ahead. They hiked in silence for hours, following the GPS coordinates back to the spot where the impossible had happened.
The silence here is just like before. It already senses us.
At the old waypoint, nothing moved. The snow was fresh, no tracks, just an eerie absence.
This is the place. We wait. It'll circle back. It always does.
An hour crawled by in freezing quiet. Then a branch snapped to the north.
Something's moving. Left of us, behind the hemlocks.
A massive dark shape, man-like with matted fur, emerged from the trees. Its long snout turned toward them. Then it vanished.
You saw that. No one will believe it. but you saw it with your own eyes.
No photo yet, but it's real. It's right here in this drainage.
They pushed deeper into the forest, every nerve on fire. The creature's trail invisible beneath the new snow. 50 yards ahead, the new snow was broken. Bipedal prints, unmistakably fresh, carved a straight line toward the drainage.
They're just like before. Same stride, same deep impression. It's leading us again.
Ellis pointed the camera at the tracks and started filming, the red recording light a small beacon in the gloom. The trail arrowed through the trees, exactly as it had months earlier, and they knew where it ended. They entered the same clearing. The Douglas fir loomed. At its base, the prints stopped. No tracks leaving.
Up. Look up. He's in the branches.
Christopher tilted the camera. Massive claw marks scarred the bark, leading into the canopy. Something was clinging to the trunk. A dark shape shifted in the snow-laden branches, the outline of a long, wolf-like muzzle and a hair-covered torso.
It's real. It's right there. Just hold steady. Don't lose the shot.
They stood frozen, the camera recording, the creature watching them from the fir as the forest held its breath. A shriek tore through the clearing. The creature catapulted from the branches, hit the snow, and vanished into the dark timber.
Run. Don't look back. The camera. I think I got it.
They crashed through the underbrush, branches whipping their faces, the camera bouncing against Christopher's chest.
Keep moving. The truck is half a mile.
They exploded out of the tree line, gasping, and dove into the truck. Doors slammed. Inside, Christopher hit playback. The screen flickered. A dark, massive shape, a long muzzle, then snow.
It's blurry, but it's right there. A wolf that walks like a man.
That's it. That's what we came for. No one's deleting this.
They sat in the cold, the engine idling, the video file a live grenade on the memory card. They had proof, undeniable proof, but the real battle was just beginning. In a cheap motel outside town, they uploaded the footage to a national journalist they trusted, a single encrypted file. By sunrise, the headline screamed, USDA, whistleblowers claim cryptid exists. Blurry creature image, everywhere. Within hours, the USDA released a statement. Christopher was a disgruntled former employee fabricating evidence. They discredited Ellis as a conspiracy theorist. The comments section split into warring factions.
My career is dead. They're calling me a fraud, but the video doesn't lie.
His phone buzzed nonstop. Threats, interview requests, anonymous calls. He unplugged it.
They'll smear us raw, but that footage is real. Somewhere, someone is listening.
Online, a few former trackers posted anonymous support. Their stories matched. The crack spread.
This is bigger than me now. They can't put the genie back in the bottle.
The video had been viewed over 2 million times. The phenomenon now had a name and a face. A certified letter arrived 3 days after the statement. Inside, notice of termination for misconduct.
Misconduct. 23 months of surveys, and they end it with one word.
The final paycheck was smaller than expected. He set it aside, the reality of unemployment settling in. He began packing his apartment, books and gear into cardboard boxes, the framed photo of a wolf he'd never track again, watching him.
This is the price of telling the truth. No job, no reputation. Was it worth it?
The next morning, a small article appeared. The drainage had been closed to all personnel indefinitely.
They closed it. They're scared. The video made them act, even if they'll never admit it.
Later, his phone chimed with a message from a number he didn't recognize. Then another. Former trackers, you did what we couldn't. Thank you. The words blurred on the screen. The termination letter was still on the counter, but for a moment, it felt smaller. 3 years later, Christopher ran a small consulting business. No wolves, just bird surveys and nature tours. He led groups through safe trails, pointing out eagles and deer. The drainage was a closed chapter. One afternoon, Ellis met him at a quiet coffee shop. Both older, slower, but the bond was still there. They didn't discuss the drainage. They didn't need to. Instead, Christopher pulled out his phone and showed him a photo. The 1991 track shot, now framed on his desk.
Reminds me why I walk in the woods. not just for birds.
Yeah, we saw it. They can rewrite the paper, but we know.
They finished their coffee, the silence comfortable, not empty. Before leaving, Ellis clapped Christopher's shoulder, a gesture that said everything words couldn't. The framed photograph sat in Christopher's office the next morning. Catching the light, the truth was still there. As they stood to leave the coffee shop, Ellis mentioned the emails he still got. Strangers with theories about the drainage.
Every few months, someone sends me a new theory. Most are junk, but a few of them know the drainage.
Christopher chuckled, a dry sound. He admitted he still checked the news, hoping for validation.
I search every few weeks. Nothing updates. The silence is louder than any howl.
They walked to the door, the weight of shared knowledge settling between them like an old friend.
We keep in touch. If anything ever surfaces, you'll be the first to know.
Outside, they shook hands and parted without fanfare. The promise was enough. Sitting in his truck, Christopher glanced at the forested hills to the east. His phone showed no new alerts.
The drainage is still there, keeping its secret. So are we.
He started the engine and drove home, the silence of the forest staying in his rearview mirror. Later, in his office, the framed photograph caught the last of the afternoon light. The bipedal tracks were still sharp in the old print, the broken twig a permanent detail.
After everything, the forest still keeps its secrets, but I no longer need it to answer.
The memory of the clearing rose unbidden, now overgrown with wildflowers, peaceful and untouchable. The Douglas fir stood sentinel, its branches heavy with summer green. No tracks, no sound. He returned the frame to his desk, a small, knowing smile settling on his face. He had lost a career, but the truth was his. It didn't need validation. Somewhere deep in Idaho, the drainage remained closed, the creature still there, walking on two legs when no one watched. The photograph would sit on his desk, a quiet anchor to the impossible, and the forest kept its secret, as it always had.